Okay, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well today. So I just watched that interview with Andre Ward talking about the sanctioning bodies and the 3% that they take off the fighters, specifically the WBC. I think he was really referring to that. I think he was having negotiations and conversations with Mauricio Sullivan. And then Errol Spence jumped in as well in a separate interview. Very interesting stuff. I like to see fighters, well, I don't like to see fighters getting completely ripped off. And unfortunately, in this dirty game of boxing or anything that you go high up in, there are nefarious activities. So let's talk about it in this video.
Explain to me what you've done to deserve that. Like, what have you done? What are you guys doing? And I'm not even sharing the half of what I know. This is the PG version. This is the you know what I'm saying? I'm keeping it clean.
Other people should be held accountable too, and just knowing where's everything going to and what's it for, and you doing this, you doing that, but you saying it, but how do we know?
Boxing.
All right, so shout out to all the subscribers, big up to anybody new locked in. So yeah, I thought it was a really interesting video. I really have always enjoyed watching Andre Ward interviews. I used to really enjoy watching him as a fighter. I might be one of the few. He's really, when I really started to watch boxing heavily, he was at the forefront of it. And I've always paid a close eye on his career, and I've just really enjoyed his interviews. But he's very articulate, and he really stands up for himself, I
don't respect it, bro, and nobody can convince me otherwise. You tell me what those guys are doing to deserve to have their hand in a fighter's pocket.
And especially in this, I don't know like why it's taking so long. Perhaps a lot of fighters are so blindsided by or bamboozled by all the political games. And if you look at Mauricio Sullivan, he looks like a politician. I'll show you a picture right now. I mean, that is someone you do not trust. So, Andre Ward was saying, it's robbery. Where's the money going? So
I love the Ring Magazine belt. It's got great history. But all these other belts, man, it's robbery.
Basically, whatever purse they have, and if you're talking 10 million, let's just say, which I don't think Ward ever had a purse that high, but even it's just for 10 million, 3%. Mauricio Sullivan is just going to take, or any of the others. I keep picking on him, but all the belts, I'm sure the fee changes, and I know it does a little bit, but typically it's around 3%. That's a lot of money.
Why am I giving you 3% of my purse? And then we have multiple sanctioned bodies, so now the 3 is 9%. If I fight for 3 belts, it's 9% now. Like, that's just unheard of.
From a fighter who, that's surely their money, right? So obviously you could argue and say, well, it's the WBC's belt. Of course they have a right to money, but do they? Like, where's the money going? Because it seems so a lack of transparency involved. Because they depend on fighters' ignorance, really, not just in boxing, but in any situation where you have money and you have contracts and you have ignorance. It's understandable the fact that fighters don't really know how to read these. I wouldn't know how to read a contract right now, to be honest with you. Like, I probably would if I really took my time, and I would ask a lot of questions. But I guess if you like get thrown a big contract at you or this and that, and you're in a position and you haven't got any money, then it's easy to understand fighters taking this. And then by the time you know it, you sign a contract and all these loopholes come in. And I'm sure Mauricio Sullivan will have loopholes. That dude is an absolute dirtbag, to use an American term. I mean, he is a dirtbag because, just the thing, it just consistently. Excuse the trains. Either way, I don't know what the weather's like where you guys are, but it is shocking here in New York City. Thunderstorms. Grey, that's why I've got these random lights on. It's usually like a nice, well, it's been a weird couple of weeks, but anyway. But what I was going to say was, it's nice to see Errol Spence jump in as well.
You hear about all these Hall of Fame fighters You know, and 99% of these guys, the guys we look up to, the guys we talk about, you know, they're broke. And, you know, yeah, you know, they got to take accountability. They ain't do right with their money, but
this, honestly, is what it's going to take for, you know, the eyes to be, you know, switched on about it. Because I feel like more and more fighters these days are not just, you know, alert to this, because, you know, I think there's just more suspicion than ever about, you know, the darker entities taking advantage of these fighters, whether it be in promotional companies, whether it being signing with this company or that company, or making sure you're getting your worth. I feel like, which is great to see, I'm always pro fighter, that fighters are finally, like, you know, doing trying to do what's best for them, and being a bit more wary of everybody, because, you know, like I said, there's a lot of nefarious scumbaggery in boxing.
Other people should be held accountable too, and just knowing where's everything going to and what's it for, and you doing this, you doing that, but you know, you saying it, but how do we know? So I feel like it should be, you know, different stuff for athletes. You know, there's no, you know, retirement for athletes. It's basically no great insurance for athletes, and you know, they out here risking their lives.
And it does make you wonder, where is this money going? Because, you know, like I saw a couple of other interviews where they spoke on this, a channel that I watch, I think it's called YSM or maybe YMS. It's a great channel. We're here in America. He does a lot of interviews, and, you know, hypothetically saying, you know, a percentage of that could be given to the fighter after they're retired. I know it's probably like unrealistic, but you would love to see that kind of thing happen, because if it's just going straight to Mauricio Sullivan's back pocket, that's just wrong. You know, however it's set up, and I'm sure he's got a bunch of high-level lawyers and loopholes to protect him from any of this, because that's how they work. You know, they can usually muscle you out of these situations either by clout, money, power, whatever it is. You know, typically fighters don't have a leg to stand on unless they band together. And, you know, I think it was Ward that was mentioning, you know, we're not going to fight. If you don't have any fighters, you ain't going to have any fights.
Like, imagine if fighters, I know this is like way out there, but imagine if fighters like collectively got together and didn't say, we're not fighting. We're not fighting. Who's going to fight? I'm talking about like the core ones. Like, we're going to hold out until these things get done and we start getting some collective help around these areas.
But you need people to come together, and you need people to be on the same page, really, in unison, for this to happen, or for it to have a chance to negotiate. Where's the money going? Because we want to see, where is the money going? Is it like, what's happening with this money? You know, I'm kind of surprised it's taken so long for fighters to actually speak out. I know Floyd wasn't a big fan of the sanctioning fees, and he used to drop some of the belts, actually. I'm sure he's not the only fighter, because when you have a massive, massive purse like Floyd did, especially later on in his career, I mean, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars just going in Mauricio Sullivan's back pocket for nothing. And the fighters are missing out on his money. Now, I say for nothing, look, obviously it's the privilege to have that, and they created the belt, so there are some things there, but then you want transparency with the fighters. Yeah, like, why are you getting this money, or what can we do with this? Where's the money going? Is it all going to you? You know, so I thought it was great. I think, you know, it would be a shame to lose traction on this, because that's probably what's going to happen, and then, you know, they'll just forget about it, and then they'll just keep doing it, or maybe raise the fee. They can do whatever they want, really. That's why it's the wild, wild west. That's why boxing, you know, I know Teddy Atlas has been a big advocate for having some sort of governing body. It will never happen in boxing, because they know they've got too much power and control, so they're going to keep doing what they're doing. But the fighters and the ex-fighters or whatever, they're the ones that really have the power collectively, just like people in life, you know. So But it's nice to see Errol Spence speak out a little bit. It would be great to see Terence Crawford speak out. They've got a big fight coming up. It would be great to see any other big fighters speak on this, even if it's just to keep the conversation going, because, you know, before you know it, we're on to something else, and then it's all forgotten, and then, you know, the scams continue. So, but anyway, that's it from me. Let me know what you think on these sanctioning bodies, and yeah, let me know. Let me know if, what ideas you have about what could happen to see where the money goes. You know, all we want is a bit of transparency, just to help these fighters out. You know, because once fighting's done and boxing, you could get injured in a heartbeat and your career could be done, and you could be left in the dark with nothing. And it's so sad. You know, it really is. I feel for these fighters, man. But anyway, that is it from me. I will do my best to get a few more videos out. Shout out to all the new subscribers. I got loads more short tutorials coming. I'm still competing with this bloody train. Loads of tutorials coming on shorts. And we're approaching 1,000 subs. So I'll do a special video for that, because I can't wait for that. But anyway, peace and love. I'm out of here, boxing on the edge.
And then of course you want the green belt. Floyd had it, Ali had it, so I want that green belt. So you want those belts for those kind of reasons. But then when you get them, you start to do the math. Like, bro, I get sick randomly sometimes when I think about, just use my last 2 fights, the amount of sanction fees that I had to pay.
Boxing.
On the edge.